So Blue Exorcist once again is just keeping on the track of being some pretty good and interesting content like last week. I thought this episode, it was divided in two major ways, which was actually really interesting. First half is more or less the Toto fight overcoming him, but of course we're not fully done with that fight just yet. But then also the Rin stuff and also Bond stuff and Rin overcoming his own obstacles and being able to pull out his sword. But I just thought the Toto stuff, like let's focus on this first. Blue Exorcist has some good action sequences. It's not extraordinary, it's not bad, but they're just solid overall for the most part. And this Toto fight doesn't go anything above or beyond what we've seen, but there was some really cool hand-to-hand combat or hand-to-staff combat with Toto and the others fighting them with their flame staffs, and just there was something about it. Visually, it didn't look that impressive, but how the choreography and battle choreography just was working, I thought it was actually pretty interesting, and how they ultimately overcome Toto with pretty much feeding him this fire and then eventually giving him a fire spirit who doesn't match his body to essentially burn him out and then the rain to wash his body away. I thought it was just a really clever way of how to beat him, but of course he's not fully beat because some of his limbs are sort of intact, so he was able to use those to attack the others, so it's going to be interesting how they fully finish the Toto fight. But I thought how his overall pace with the action sequences and just the cleverness of how they were overcoming it, I thought it was actually pretty interesting. But I think the highlight has to be all of the Bond and Rin stuff, where Bond he's at the end of his ropes. He might have 15 minutes if he's lucky. He's holding this barrier, but he looks like shit. Rin can't pull out his sword. Everything is looking horrible, and Bond comes to the realization, we're fucked. So escape Rin, evacuate as many people as you can, get the hell out of here because I can't handle this. You can't pull your sword. There's no use in us both dying. At least try to get these people away. And once again, Rin does the same thing where he puts on that face, he's smiling, but his hands are shaking. He's saying, oh, let's go to Kyoto Tower. You know, you were a local, so you probably know this. Do you think others people would want to come? You know, the others, would they have fun going there? And it's just this conversation. The way the OST was playing with that conversation, it was brilliant and it was emotional. What I really loved is because Rin, he's a strong character, but a weak one all in one. But I love how much of a face he'll put on for his friends saying, we got this, you know, let's just kick this person's ass. Let's go on vacation afterwards. He has that kind of mentality, and I really like that as a shonen protagonist. Like, you don't, like, there's this weird balance of shonen protagonists where they're either overly positive, overly negative, or just overly badass. And I think Rin is in a kind of middle ground, which I really like. But I just liked how he was talking with Bond, and Bond just is like, alright, you know what? I'll fucking trust you. And then he gives up his own protective barrier, so the final form of this demon is about to kill him, so Rin has to pull a sword, and he has this resolve. And when he pulls that sword, it's just a really emotional sequence. I thought it just had that right amount of feels to make you warm inside, but also just have you pumped up because Rin is now his badass form again. He can now at least fight on equal terms. And I saw some people complaining on the comment section of Crunchyroll when I was watching, saying, oh man, they're really dragging out this fight. And I can't understand that. I feel like too many people just only want one epic battle. The person can just kick their ass in one episode. There's no time for development because this is supposedly the most epic, like, boss battle for them. So yes, it's going to take some time to defeat him, but also all the characters have to come to terms and grow in their own way. This is actually very well paced. Like, the intro content to this season, I did not like that much. In fact, I was willing to drop this at first. But this stuff, how they're pacing the fight and just the overcoming everyone's own just character struggles and just character development, I think is phenomenal. Like, this is the Blue Exorcist I know and love, and it's really not dying down for me. You know, this feels like it's just epic and it's just getting better and better with each episode, and I can't wait to see what the hell they do with the individual character development and just all the individual characters, because they're all having their own fights, and I think their fights are interesting in their own way. But I'd be interested to hear, for people who's watching Blue Exorcist, are you loving this fight? Are you thinking it's a little boring? How did you find the new form? Because we're in the final form. I still think the final form of this villain here is underwhelming with the character design, but I think how they're kind of portraying the barrier and all of this, like, calamity, like, just kind of destroying people, like, it does show how menacing this person is, but I just hate the character design, but it is what it is. But I think still it's an epic fight, and I'm really interested to see what the hell they do with more character development and just the fight overall next week, and interested to see if they're gonna finally take down Toto, because this guy is just, he's not giving up, but it is an interesting fight nonetheless. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and before you leave, hit that like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.